The big challenge now comes because the promise to this country in Providence was if you'll hit your knees, if you'll ask God, you'll get it. But if we now don't deliver, you don't ask God for providence and then not deliver. Now we are bound forever. And if we don't deliver this plan and free humanity, we will be bound to the ninth circle of hell. I'm bound to this truth, and I will never stop delivering. It's time for you to transcend Hollywood and all these other weak people and submit yourself to God. You won't find God in these schools. You won't find God in these churches. They're all there to deflect. You're going to find God in your heart. The video we're about to air was from 3 a.m. in the morning. I was totally exhausted. I had a couple glasses of champagne, but it wasn't alcohol. I was just totally shot. I've been on air like 15, 16 hours. But I had to do one final transmission that night. We're going to air some excerpts of it here in just a moment. Let me get to this. I'll have to play part of it in this segment, part of it in the next segment. Then I'm going to get into some of the geopolitical news and financial news and election fraud news, vindicating Trump further. And then the big news, scientists are implanting tiny human brains into rats. Told you that 20 years ago. In fact, they're not implanting brains. That's old technology. They are putting human genetics into where the rat brain has human genetics and human characteristics. You notice I'm always made fun of this because I'm 20 years ahead. And I'm not bragging. Anybody could be 20 years ahead if you read policy papers. They treat you like idiots, folks, like mushrooms. They keep you in the dark. So here I am at 3-something in the morning, 365 days ago, predicting that Trump would deliver and that I had completed my mission. That I still had more to do, but this whole chain reaction of nationalism, crushing globalism, we're not going to win overnight, but it's the beginning of the tide turning. And boy, a year later, has Trump delivered? Have I been proven with my gut as right? But I said, the big fight's coming. I told Roger that night, and you're now seeing it. So here's the start of the video. It's almost 3 o'clock in the morning, Central Time. And we now have President-elect Donald Trump. Donald Trump is no angel, and neither am I. But Donald Trump's will is that you be prosperous and that you be successful. Donald Trump is not satanic. He does not want to see you poor. He does not wish to ground you under his treads. And that's why Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and all the big mega banks have set themselves up against him, because they believe they own you. I knew a year and a half ago when I endorsed Donald Trump he was going to win. And I've talked some about why I knew that. But people I know and people I trust that are patriots, that have defended this republic, confirmed to me, and I've seen it in Donald Trump's actions, that he wanted to restore this republic. But I want to be very clear to you, very clear. It isn't about credit. It's so that you know the danger. You've seen the stupid ads with the bunny rabbit that says Energizer inside. If you want to know what powers Donald Trump, individually, it's a love of liberty and a love of standing up to corruption. He's not perfect. Nobody is. But what powers the movement is Infowars. They want to establish a private, corporate, global government. Nigel Farage, the leader of UKIP, would come on my show 15 years ago when he barely had a few members of parliament. Now he's 100 times bigger or more. And he would say, it's your listeners listening to you in the U.S. when I go knock on doors. That's why we're getting the UK Independence Party. It's Infowars. Thank you. He said that on the show. We'll be right back on the other side where it gets pretty hardcore. Stay with us, Infowars.com, Newswars.com. Congress, the globalists, the Democrats admit they want to shut us down. Only you can stop them by spreading the links. You are the resistance. You are the hope. They're trying to stop you. Don't let them. That's total truth you just heard. Let's go back to that 3 a.m. transmission where I laid out the fact that already Infowars had done its mission and been successful and really turned the tide, thanks to you. And then I believe Trump would then deliver, which we're now seeing unfold. But the fight is just beginning. Here it is. The leader of UKIP would come on my show 15 years ago when he barely had a few members of parliament. Now he's 100 times bigger or more. And he would say, it's your listeners listening to you in the U.S. when I go knock on doors. That's why we're getting the UK Independence Party. It's Infowars. Thank you. He said that on the show. It's not about us bragging. It's that the spirit of the Infowar across the world, from Australia to the UK to Russia, from Nigeria to Mexico, is spreading. And it's the Renaissance idea of freedom. And that's why they're trying to shut us down. Because we're not perfect, but we're not out to get people. We believe in lower taxes. We know empowering the people is the answer. We don't want to break up families. We're not out to get people. And Donald Trump is not out to get you. That's all. He's not some weird that wants you to abort your kid or take a dangerous vaccine or submit to their system. Now, that said, because it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to shut this down. I'm exhausted. But this historic occasion has happened. I should warn you. Donald Trump is more a figurehead of liberty than ever before. And he has the Holy Ghost protecting him. And no weapon formed against him will prosper as long as we pray for him. We're here. And the evil of the globalists is ongoing. And Donald Trump isn't some panacea. He's only a manifestation of our awakening. So listen to me, and I'm going to close this out. They are going to try to collapse the world economy. They've already been propping it up for a while. They're going to blame it on Donald Trump, a global depression. They knew they couldn't stop the movement. So now that he's in, they're going to implode the economy and blame him when they're the ones who created the derivatives, when they're the ones who created the end of Glass-Steagall, when Hillary Clinton and Larry Summers did it all. They're going to blame Donald Trump. How do I know that? They threatened the UK. They said, you try to leave this unelected thing, we'll implode your economy. We'll take your jobs away, just like they did Iceland or Greece. Some countries fold, some fight back. We know their plan. If you're just conscious and want to know the truth, it's all there. It's not my opinion. I want self-determination. I won't be held hostage. So, this isn't like buying a lottery ticket where you elect Donald Trump and beat the establishment and then expect the whole gravy train to continue on. Who wants this fake gravy train? We need to get back to what makes us human, what makes us real. And if we're getting ahead at the expense of some third world people, we shouldn't do it. If we're getting ahead at the expense of our kids, we shouldn't do it. Donald Trump, for all his gold-plated planes and everything he does, his sin is that he isn't out to get you. I saw the enemy truly against Donald Trump, spiritually hating him, so I backed him. And I've interviewed him on air. I've talked to Donald Trump, but I've talked to other people. I've talked to other presidents. Governor Bush tried to get me to work with him. I didn't do it because he wasn't a good man. Trump, my spirit tells me, needs to be supported. And he could falter, he could waver. But all of us are prodigal sons. And I can tell you, if you want freedom, it's not free. The storm is coming now. This victory is part of the destiny of the Republic. This country is the vision of incredibly pure people who wanted to build up society and create a launch pad for the technology we now enjoy. And they believed we would be pure and appreciate this technology in their incredible crystal visions and not a bunch of lazy. So let's make those pilgrims right.
And let's build what they envisioned, because we're their children. And let's never look down on people that aren't as smart as us and are weak and say, use them as animals, they're dumb. Because the minute we stoop down to do that, we become cannibals and we lose our humanity. It's not some new age term because they use this term, but it's God. It's Christ energy is dumping into this planet right now. We're being bathed in the embryonic fluid of the birth of something magic that all of us individually have to collectively decide we want to give birth to what God talked about in the Bible, that the eye has not seen, the ear has not heard. We have to decide we care. And we can do anything we want. But we can't hurt the innocent. All right, I'm done talking. I'm exhausted. It's 2:43. I want to thank I want to thank you, Josh. I want to thank this whole crew and the viewers and listeners. And I may not have all the answers. But thank God I'm not one of these people like Lady Gaga and John Podesta and all this stuff they're doing. Can you imagine being so fallen that you think corrupting children gives you power? So you're like burning your own hardware up, your own circuitry. You think, oh, like I'm dying spiritually. Oh, I've got power. But it's our weakness and subservient to them that let them think they were God. And I realize it's those of us that have the spark of creativity and intellect that give in to these people that are their enablers. And the fact that we won't take control and rule and build is our fault. We are the real people that did all this. By creating a vacuum and putting these demons in control, we ceded control. We committed the crimes. I committed the crimes. And I will no longer commit those crimes. It's time to take charge of this third dimension and beyond. Donald Trump is only a childlike, as we all are, manifestation of this. We have the keys to the universe because God gave them to us. God who has dreams for us. God who loves us. God who gave us knowledge of good and evil. But we must thank God and then take those keys in our hands and have the will to open those doors. The big challenge now comes because the promise to this country in Providence was that if you'll hit your knees, you'll ask God, you'll get it. But if we now don't deliver, you don't ask God for providence and then not deliver. Now we are bound forever. And if we don't deliver this plan and free humanity, we will be bound to the ninth circle of hell. I'm bound to this truth, and I will never stop delivering. It's time for you to transcend Hollywood and all these other weak people and submit yourself to God. You won't find God in these schools. You won't find God in these churches. They're all there to deflect. You're going to find God in your heart. I've said it. I've already run my course. I already know my entire life purpose has been completed. I will continue on. But now, I realize I've won.
And now, a year later, Trump is only delivering. We've taken Brain Force and made it Brain Force Plus. Now at 20% more in the bottle and an even more hardcore formula. You owe it to yourself to get these products. They really have worked for myself, my family. They have 5-star reviews by the thousands. InfowarsLife.com.